For as long as we have looked up at the night sky, we have believed in motion. Stars drift, galaxies swirl, and even the vast darkness between them stretches outward, an endless expansion that has carried everything we know further and further apart. For nearly 14 billion years, the universe has been breathing outward, like the chest of a sleeping giant. Every particle, every ray of light, every silent atom rides that cosmic breath, unaware of the vast, invisible rhythm guiding it. But what if one day that breath stopped? Imagine waking up in a universe where nothing drifts away anymore. The galaxies on the edge of visibility frozen in place. The great cosmic tide suddenly stilled. Would we notice? Would time hesitate, as if confused about which direction to flow? Or would everything, from stars to human thoughts, simply continue, not realizing the heartbeat of existence had paused? To ask what would happen if the universe stopped expanding is not just a scientific question. It is a philosophical one. It asks, what is motion without purpose? What is time without change? And perhaps most unsettling of all, can something truly live if it can no longer grow? Our universe is not static. It's an ocean in constant motion. Galaxies like waves rising and fading, nebulae blooming like cosmic flowers that will one day wilt back into darkness. Even space itself is alive in its own way, not breathing air but possibility. When we gaze through a telescope, we are not just seeing light. We are witnessing time. Every star we observe is a memory, a message sent billions of years ago, a ghost of what once was. And through all of those flickering messages, the story of the universe is written in one recurring phrase: expansion. Yet for all our understanding, we cannot say why the universe expands. We can measure it, predict it, model it, but we cannot explain the reason behind it. Like a heartbeat with no known heart, it simply happens. So what would happen if it stopped? Would the galaxies fall back toward one another, pulled by the patient hand of gravity? Would time itself slow, losing momentum like a pendulum reaching its peak? Or would we find ourselves trapped in a cosmic still frame, a universe existing, but no longer living? Perhaps it would not be a sudden end, but a quiet transition, like the moment between inhaling and exhaling, when everything holds its breath for just a second. Tonight we journey into that moment. A moment where time, space, and existence itself might forget how to move. Where the universe, for the first time since its birth, might ask itself, what now? Section 1. The Cosmic Breath. To understand what it would mean for the universe to stop expanding, we must first understand what it means for it to breathe. From the instant of the Big Bang, space itself began to stretch. Not a burst into emptiness, but an awakening of emptiness, a swelling of existence where there was none before. In that first fraction of a second, time began ticking. Energy crystallized into matter, and chaos began to take form. Imagine painting tiny dots on the surface of a balloon. As you inflate it, the dots drift apart, not because they are moving through space, but because the surface beneath them is stretching. That is how our universe behaves. Galaxies are not sailing through space. They are being carried by space itself, riding an invisible tide of expansion that touches everything, from the edge of the cosmos to the empty air around you. For billions of years, that expansion has continued. At first, it slowed, gravity tugging gently at every atom, trying to bring creation back to its center. For a long time, scientists believed it would eventually succeed, that one day the outward rush would falter, and the universe would stop, poised on the edge of balance between growing and falling. But the universe had other plans. In the late 20th century, when astronomers studied the light of dying stars, ancient supernovae billions of light years away, they found something shocking. The galaxies weren't slowing down. They were accelerating. Something unseen was pushing them apart faster and faster, like a wind we couldn't feel but could somehow measure. They called it dark energy, a mysterious force that fills the universe, driving its endless expansion. We still don't know what dark energy is. It isn't light, it isn't matter, and yet it makes up nearly 70% of everything that exists. It doesn't glow, it doesn't touch, it simply is. The quiet hand guiding the universe's breath. Some physicists call it the energy of the vacuum, a kind of pressure that space itself exerts on everything it contains. Others imagine it as a property of existence itself, a reminder that even nothingness has power. But here lies the great paradox. If the universe is breathing out, will it ever breathe in again? Could that silent hand stop pushing? And if it did, what would remain? Without dark energy, gravity would begin to whisper louder, calling galaxies home. The great cosmic web would tremble, stars and clusters inching closer through invisible threads. It might take billions, even trillions of years, but eventually the universe would remember its own weight. For now it expands, calmly, endlessly, beautifully. A slow exhalation of time and space, the rhythm of existence itself. And somewhere in that rhythm, between what was and what will be, the universe continues to ask the question, how long can I keep breathing? Section 2. When the expansion ends. If one day the expansion of the universe stopped, it wouldn't begin with a bang. There would be no explosion, no great collapse, just a silence too vast to notice. Galaxies would continue to spin, stars would keep burning, and life, if still it existed, would not sense the shift. Because cosmic change doesn't shout. It whispers, in the slow drift of galaxies, in the fading hum of background radiation, in the quiet reshaping of time itself. At first, nothing would seem different. The Milky Way would remain bound by gravity, its stars orbiting peacefully as they always had. But far beyond, in the deep black where light itself struggles to travel, something extraordinary would begin. Right now, the universe's edge, the cosmic horizon, is moving away from us faster than light. There are galaxies we can never see because their light will never reach us. But if expansion stopped, that invisible border would begin to shrink. The unreachable would slowly become reachable again. Distant galaxies, once lost to the acceleration of space, would drift back into our view. Old light, billions of years old, would finally arrive, the last messages of dying stars long gone. The night sky would grow denser, richer. Constellations would change shape over eons as new galaxies appeared like ghosts returning home. But this reunion would not last forever. Because once expansion halts, gravity reclaims its throne. Every galaxy, every cluster, every atom feels its pull. The outward push gone, the inward fall begins, slowly at first, like a breath drawn in after eternity. Over unimaginable spans of time, galaxies would begin to approach one another. Their collisions, though beautiful, would be catastrophic. Stars would be torn from their orbits, planets flung into frozen darkness. Gas clouds would ignite, forming new stars, a brief flash of rebirth before the long descent. The universe would start to glow again as gravity's hand reignited the embers of creation. But every light would be a countdown, every star a spark burning toward an inevitable end. As the cosmos folded back inward, space itself would begin to curve, light bending through a universe that was growing smaller, denser, hotter. And one day, though no being may live to see it, everything would meet again at a single point. The galaxies, the stars, the black holes, the atoms, even the very laws of physics themselves, all collapsing back into one infinite heartbeat. Scientists call this the Big Crunch, the universe's potential return to the moment it began. A mirror to the Big Bang, where expansion gives way to implosion and every trace of existence folds into itself. But would that really be an end? Or would it be a beginning? Could the death of one universe be the birth of another, a phoenix of creation rising from the ashes of its own collapse? Maybe the universe has always been doing this. Breathing in, breathing out, over and over, forever. Section 3, the fabric of time. What would it mean for time if the universe stopped expanding? It's a question so strange that even physics struggles to describe it, because space and time are not separate. They are threads of the same cosmic fabric. When space stretches, time flows forward. Every heartbeat, every falling leaf, every galaxy drifting apart is part of that rhythm. Expansion is time's motion. But if that stretching ceased, if the cosmic fabric stopped unfolding, would time still have somewhere to go? Could the clock of reality tick without change? Einstein once said that time is what keeps everything from happening at once. But without expansion, without the universe changing, perhaps everything would happen at once. Past, present, and future merging into a single eternal moment. Imagine standing at the edge of existence where the stars are frozen mid-glow. No sunrise, no sunset, only one endless, unmoving light. You raise your hand to wave, but it never reaches its destination because there is no longer a later in which it can arrive. This is not the end of time, but the absence of it. A silence so profound that even light forgets how to travel. In physics, time's arrow always points in one direction, forward, because entropy or disorder always increases. We remember the past, but not the future, because the universe moves from order to chaos. But what if that process stopped? If the universe no longer expanded, entropy might stop increasing. And without that rising tide of disorder, time would lose its direction. The arrow would fall still. Would that mean we are trapped in one instant forever? Or that time itself becomes irrelevant, a concept that no longer applies to a universe that no longer moves? Perhaps time is not a river flowing through the cosmos, but a wave that only exists because the sea beneath it moves. If the sea freezes, the wave disappears, not destroyed, just meaningless. In that frozen universe, thought might not even exist. Consciousness itself depends on change, on the before and after that create awareness. Without change, there is no memory, no anticipation, no experience. It's a paradox. For there to be awareness of stillness, something must not be still. So could a motionless universe ever know that it had stopped? Or would it simply be? Perhaps that is the deepest mystery of all, that existence might continue, but awareness might not. A universe without expansion could become a universe without perception. Reality would persist, but no one, not even the universe itself, would be there to see it. And maybe that's the quiet truth hiding behind the stars, that time doesn't end with a bang, but with a pause, that even eternity holds its breath. Section 4. Energy, Balance, and Entropy. The universe is not just a place of light and stars, it is a vast engine of energy, balance, and decay. Every star burns by surrendering itself. Every atom hums with the faint vibration of impermanence. Expansion gives that energy room to flow, a stage on which motion, heat, and life can exist. But if expansion stopped, that grand equilibrium would begin to shift. The universe's energy, once free to spread endlessly, would start to settle, unable to escape itself. Entropy, the measure of disorder, might no longer rise. The chaos that drives time's arrow forward could falter. Imagine a universe reaching a perfect balance. No longer too hot nor too cold. No movement, no decay, only equilibrium. It sounds peaceful, but peace can also be lifeless. Without expansion, no new galaxies would form. The cold gas between the stars would no longer collapse into suns. The fire of creation would dim, leaving behind a cosmos of quiet symmetry. Everything stable. Everything still. A portrait of existence that can never change. Some physicists call this the heat death, a moment when all energy has spread evenly and no work can be done. Others imagine something even stranger, that the vacuum of space itself could pulse, causing the universe to expand and contract in endless cycles. Perhaps the cosmos is not dying, but breathing in patterns too vast for us to perceive, a heart that beats once every eternity. And maybe that's the lesson hidden in entropy, that order and chaos, growth and decay are not opposites at all, but partners in a dance older than time. The end of expansion might not mean destruction. It could mean balance. the still moment between breaths, where the universe listens to itself. Section 5. A universe that remembers. When we look up at the stars, we are not seeing the present. We are witnessing memory. Light is time, stretched thin across the cosmos, messages from the past, traveling through the dark. Each photon that touches your eye tonight may have begun its journey before Earth even existed. The night sky is not a view, it is an archive. So if the universe stopped expanding, it would be as if memory itself stopped being written. No new stars. No new light. Only the slow fading of what once was. Galaxies would grow older, their colors dimming into red as their energy drained away. But within that fading, a kind of beauty would emerge, the beauty of remembrance. Because even as light disappears, its echo remains in the fabric of space-time, like footprints pressed into soft sand. The universe, in a way, remembers everything. Every birth of a star, every death of a world, every whisper of a human voice that once looked up and asked, why? Perhaps the end of expansion is not the end of creation, but the beginning of memory. A cosmic reflection where everything that ever existed is preserved in perfect stillness. Maybe after all the light fades, what remains is understanding, the universe knowing itself. In that quiet, we might not hear the noise of galaxies, but the hum of something deeper, awareness. Because the universe doesn't need to expand to be infinite. It only needs to remember. And if every moment, every breath, every spark of life is forever recorded in the structure of space, then nothing truly ends. It just becomes part of the story written in the stars. So what if the universe stopped expanding? Would everything collapse, or would everything simply pause? Would time itself hold its breath, waiting for the next heartbeat of creation? Perhaps the answer is simpler and more beautiful than we imagine. The universe might not end with fire or ice, but with stillness. A moment of cosmic reflection, where all motion ceases and the infinite finally looks inward. If that moment ever comes, it will not be a tragedy. It will be the universe returning home. Every star, every planet, every whisper of light folding gently back into the silence it came from. And maybe that silence isn't empty at all. Maybe it's full of memory, of potential, of all the dreams the universe ever dared to have. Because endings are never truly endings. They are transformations, changes of form, not of essence. The universe that stops expanding might simply be changing shape, preparing for another beginning. Perhaps, beyond the stillness, a new explosion of light waits, a new breath drawn from the ashes of the last. Maybe this has happened before, countless times across the unseen eternity. And if that's true, then we are not living in a story that ends, but in a rhythm that never stops. Every galaxy, every atom, every human life is a note in that eternal song, the music of existence playing across the void. Even if the universe were to stop tomorrow, it wouldn't mean silence. It would mean the pause between verses, a brief stillness before the melody begins again. Because existence at its heart does not end. It evolves. And in that evolution lies the greatest truth of all. The universe doesn't just expand, it learns. And in its learning, it remembers that even stillness is a kind of motion.